Is Nietzsche's Übermensch a power-hungry tyrant, a ruthless conqueror, or something far deeper, something most people completely misunderstand? You've probably heard the term Übermensch before, maybe in pop culture, maybe in philosophy, but chances are what you heard was wrong. No, Nietzsche's Übermensch is not about brute strength or domination. No, it's not about political superiority or master races, despite how some twisted his ideas. Instead, it's something far more radical, an idea that could change how you live your life. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand what Nietzsche really meant, you'll see how his philosophy can lead to a complete personal transformation. To understand the Übermensch, we first need to understand the man who introduced it. Friedrich Nietzsche, a philosopher, poet, and a relentless seeker of truth. Nietzsche was not a traditional philosopher. He wasn't sitting in a university, writing polite essays about ethics or logic. He was a storm, a force that challenged the very foundations of Western thought. Born in 1844 in Rücken, Germany, Nietzsche was a brilliant but troubled mind. He was deeply influenced by classical philosophy, but also by his personal experiences, loneliness, suffering, and his eventual descent into madness. At age 24, he became one of the youngest professors ever appointed in Europe, teaching at the University of Basel, but academia couldn't contain him. He quit his position and spent much of his life wandering, writing, and thinking alone. He would later say, "It is my ambition to say in 10 sentences what others say in a whole book." Nietzsche's writings weren't just philosophy. They were a rebellion. He challenged Christianity, calling it a slave morality that kept people weak and obedient. He attacked traditional values, arguing that people follow them blindly rather than thinking for themselves. And he introduced the idea that God is dead. Not literally, but symbolically, meaning that faith in absolute truths was collapsing. But if the old values were dying, what would replace them? Nietzsche's answer, the Übermensch. Nietzsche believed that after the death of old beliefs, humanity had two choices. One, we could remain weak, lost, and directionless, living meaningless, herd-like lives. Or two, we could rise above, becoming something greater, something higher. The Übermensch. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Nietzsche's mysterious prophet, Zarathustra, declares, "Man is a rope tied between beast and Übermensch, a bridge, not an end." But here's the irony. The man who inspired the world to transcend suffering suffered immensely himself. By the late 1880s, Nietzsche was struggling with severe mental and physical illness. In 1889, he had a mental breakdown, collapsing in the streets of Turin, reportedly weeping over a beaten horse, a moment that has become legendary. He spent the last 11 years of his life in silence, unable to write, lost in insanity. Yet his words continued to echo long after his death in 1900. And among all his ideas, the Übermensch remains one of the most powerful, yet misunderstood. Imagine standing at the edge of everything you've ever known and realizing it's not enough. The beliefs you were taught, the rules you followed, the paths laid out before you, they're all just remnants of the past. What if you had the power to break free, to become something greater, something beyond what society says you must be? This is the Übermensch, the overman, the highest evolution of what a human can become. The word Übermensch is often translated as Superman or Overman, but this is misleading. Nietzsche wasn't talking about a superhero or a physically superior being. He was talking about a transformation, a complete rebirth of the self. Think of the Übermensch as the next step in human evolution, but not in a biological sense. It's a mental, spiritual, and philosophical evolution, a new way of living. Nietzsche describes it in Thus Spoke Zarathustra. "I teach you the Übermensch. Man is something that shall be overcome. What have you done to overcome him?" This is the key. Humans are not the final form. We are a bridge, not a destination. The Übermensch is the one who realizes this and actively strives to go beyond. Most people live by values that were handed to them, traditions, cultural norms, religious beliefs. But Nietzsche asked a radical question: what if you could create your own values? The Übermensch does not follow morality. He creates his own morality. He doesn't blindly accept what society tells him is good or evil. He defines his own sense of meaning, purpose, and ethics. He is an artist, not just of paintings or music, but of life itself. Nietzsche wrote, "The Übermensch is the meaning of the earth. Let your will say, the Übermensch shall be the meaning of the earth." The Übermensch rejects the herd mentality. The average person follows the crowd. They do what they're told. They think what they're supposed to think. Nietzsche called this the herd mentality, a life of conformity and comfort. But the Übermensch, he stands alone. He does not seek approval from the masses. He does not let others define his worth. He does not follow trends or fads. He creates his own path. The Übermensch is self-sufficient, self-determined, and fearless in his individuality. Life is full of suffering, pain, failure, loss. It's unavoidable. Most people try to escape it, to numb themselves with distractions. But the Übermensch does something radical. He embraces suffering. Why? Because suffering is fuel for transformation. Every hardship is a chance to grow. Every challenge is an opportunity to become stronger. Every moment of pain is a lesson. Nietzsche wrote, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." One of Nietzsche's most powerful ideas is the eternal recurrence, a thought experiment that asks, what if you had to relive this exact life over and over forever? Would you be happy with the life you're living? If not, you are not yet living as the Übermensch. The Übermensch lives so boldly, so authentically, that they would gladly relive their life eternally. This is a challenge to you right now. If your life were on repeat forever, would you be satisfied? If not, what must change? The Übermensch is the one who dares to go beyond old beliefs, beyond suffering, beyond limitations, to create a life that is fully, truly their own. For over a century, the Übermensch has been misunderstood, misused, and twisted into something Nietzsche never intended. From political propaganda to pop culture misinterpretations, the true meaning of the Übermensch has been buried beneath layers of distortion. But today, we're setting the record straight. Perhaps the most dangerous misunderstanding is the idea that the Übermensch is some kind of tyrant, a ruler who imposes his will on others through violence and domination. Where does this idea come from? Some people misinterpret Nietzsche's concept of will to power as pure domination. The Nazi regime misused Nietzsche's writings, distorting the Übermensch to justify their ideology, despite the fact that Nietzsche himself detested nationalism and anti-Semitism. Even in pop culture, the Übermensch is sometimes portrayed as an oppressive figure, like a cold-blooded ruler who bends the world to his desires. But what did Nietzsche actually say? The overman is the meaning of the earth. Let your will say, the overman shall be the meaning of the earth. The Übermensch isn't about ruling over others, it's about ruling over oneself. It's about transcending limitations, not enslaving others. It's about self-mastery, not oppression. The real Übermensch is an artist of life, not a dictator of people. Another major mistake? Thinking the Übermensch is someone who simply does whatever they want, without consequences, without morality, without responsibility. Some believe that Übermensch is about rejecting morality entirely, as if Nietzsche was promoting reckless behavior. Others assume it means living without rules, without any sense of right or wrong. In pop culture, this is the classic bad guy interpretation, the Übermensch as a selfish, destructive force. But Nietzsche was not promoting chaos or selfishness. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. The Übermensch doesn't reject morality, he transcends it. He doesn't follow traditional morals blindly. He creates his own values. He doesn't act recklessly, he acts with purpose. He doesn't destroy meaning, he forges new meaning from within. The Übermensch is not about tearing down the world. It's about building a higher way of being, one that is completely authentic to the individual. With a name like Übermensch, which literally translates to overman, it's easy to see why some people assume Nietzsche was talking about a biologically superior being. This idea has been misused in two major ways. Some assume the Übermensch is about physical superiority, a being with superior genetics, intelligence, or strength. Others think the Übermensch is about social superiority, that only a select few can become Übermenschen, while the rest remain weak. But Nietzsche made one thing clear. Man is something that shall be overcome. The Übermensch isn't about genetics, it's about mindset. Anyone from any background can strive to become an Übermensch. It's not about being born superior, it's about choosing to evolve beyond limitations. It's not about dominating others, It's about dominating your own fears, weaknesses, and outdated beliefs. In the modern world, everyone's looking for a shortcut, a quick path to power, success, and confidence. And some believe that Übermensch is just another self-improvement hack. Just follow these 5 steps and become an Übermensch. Just think positively, and you'll transcend humanity. The Übermensch is just about being confident and successful. But Nietzsche's idea is far more intense than that. To give birth to a dancing star, one must still have chaos within. Becoming an Übermensch is not easy. It requires deep self-examination, facing your fears, your doubts, your illusions. It means abandoning comfort, walking a path that few are brave enough to take. It demands constant self-overcoming. You are never done evolving. The Übermensch is not an instant transformation. It's a lifelong journey. So let's set the record straight. The Übermensch is not a tyrant. He is a master of himself. The Übermensch is not immoral. He creates a higher morality. The Übermensch is not a genetic superhuman. He is anyone who dares to evolve. The Übermensch is not easy to achieve. It is a path of struggle and transformation. Nietzsche's real message? The greatest human potential is not found in comfort, in following the crowd, or in blind obedience. It is found in those who dare to go beyond fear, beyond weakness, beyond themselves. And that is the true meaning of the Übermensch. You've now seen what the Übermensch is and what it is not. But here's the real question. How do you become an Übermensch in today's world? Nietzsche wasn't writing for scholars. He wasn't interested in theories that sit on a shelf. His ideas were meant to be lived. So, if you're ready, let's explore how you can start walking the path of the Übermensch today. The first step to becoming an Übermensch is to realize this. You are not a finished product. You are not complete. You are a work in progress. Nietzsche wrote, "Man is a rope, tied between beast and Übermensch, a bridge, not an end." This means you are the bridge. Who you are today is not who you have to be tomorrow. Your limitations, your fears, your old beliefs, they are all things that can be overcome. But overcoming them requires brutal honesty. It requires questioning everything. So ask yourself, why do I believe what I believe? Are my values truly mine, or were they given to me? Am I evolving, or am I stuck in the same patterns? Look around you. How many people spend their lives blaming everything but themselves? It's the government's fault. It's my family's fault. I wasn't given the right opportunities. But here's the brutal truth. The Übermensch doesn't make excuses. He takes complete, radical responsibility for his life. He doesn't wait for permission. He doesn't complain about circumstances. He doesn't waste energy blaming others. Instead, he asks, what can I do right now to change my reality? Nietzsche wrote, "The secret of reaping the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment from life is to live dangerously." Most people live by default. They follow the path laid out for them. Education, job, retirement, death. They take no risks. They don't explore. They never create. They only consume. But the Übermensch, he is an artist, not just of paintings, but of life itself. He designs his own path. He refuses to live according to what society expects. He makes choices that reflect his own unique vision. Nietzsche said, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." So ask yourself, if your life were a work of art, would you be proud of it? Or are you just copying someone else's script? The Übermensch does not run from suffering. He does not hide from pain. He embraces it because he understands one truth. Pain is the price of transformation. Nietzsche wrote, "To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering." Pain is not an obstacle. It is the forge that shapes you. Every challenge you face is a test. Every failure is a lesson. Every hardship is an opportunity to become stronger. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, how can this make me better? Imagine this, you are forced to live this exact life, over and over for eternity. Every choice, every regret, every wasted moment, you must relive it endlessly. Would you be happy with that? Would you be proud of your choices? Or would you feel trapped in a cycle of wasted potential? Nietzsche challenged us with this question. What if a demon were to creep after you one night and say, "This life, as you now live it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more"? Would you throw yourself down and gnash your teeth? Or would you embrace it and call it divine? The Übermensch lives as if every moment matters, because it does. No wasted days, no regrets, no waiting for the right time. The time is now. So now the question is yours. Will you stay as you are, or will you dare to become more? Self-overcoming. Challenge your beliefs. Break free from the past. Radical responsibility. Own your life, no excuses. Creative living. Build your own path. Stop living on autopilot. Embrace suffering. Let pain shape you, not break you. Live boldly. Make choices as if you'd relive them forever. Nietzsche's final challenge to you. Become who you are. The question is, will you accept it? You've come this far. You've explored the myths, the truths, and the challenges of the Übermensch. But now, the real question remains. Are you ready to step beyond? Are you ready to take control of your own evolution? Most will not. Most will turn back. They will hear these words, feel inspired for a moment, and then return to their comfortable routines. But a few, a rare few, will see this as a call to action, a signal that their time has come. Nietzsche wrote, "I want to teach men the sense of their existence, which is the overman, the lightning out of the dark cloud, man. That lightning is within you, but only if you dare to unleash it. If you decide to take this path, understand this, the world will resist you. People will tell you to stay the same. Society will try to pull you back into comfort, into routine, into compliance. Your own mind will whisper doubts. Am I capable of this? What if I fail?" Nietzsche warned us, the higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. You will have to be okay with that. The Übermensch is not understood by the herd, but he does not exist for their approval. Here's the paradox. The path of the Übermensch is a solitary one, but you are not the first to walk it. Every great thinker, every revolutionary, every creator who reshaped the world walked this path before you. They faced resistance. They faced doubt. They were called mad, dangerous, unrealistic, and yet they walked on. Nietzsche's ultimate challenge was this. Can you create meaning in a world that offers none? That is your test. That is your power. That is your legacy waiting to be written. Right now, you have a choice. Right now, you can continue living the way you always have. Or you can step forward. Live each moment as if you would relive it forever. Make choices that bring you closer to your highest self. Stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Act now. Nietzsche left us with one final truth. No price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. The Übermensch is not a theory. It's an action. So now the only question left is, will you rise? Will you evolve? Will you dare to become? Comment below, what's one belief you're ready to challenge? What's one action you'll take today to forge your own path? Like and subscribe if you want more deep dives into hidden wisdom and personal transformation. And remember, Nietzsche's ultimate commandment, become who you are.